We are now entering week 7 of fantasy hockey. The schedule last week was really weird, and this week it's even more weird. With 2 nights there were absolutely no games being played. So hopefully this video can give you a better understanding of what the schedule will look like for this coming week, and then my favorite forward, defenseman, and goalie streamers to maximize your games played this week and ultimately give you the edge over your opponent. Hopefully you're doing well to start the season. Let me know in the comments below what your current record is and who your top performers have been. I've been asking on the community channel, but now I'm going to ask on this video, so leave a comment below. And if you have any questions, as always, make sure you leave a comment and I'll be quick to respond when I get the chance. My name's Mike, and let's jump into the video. As I mentioned in the intro, the schedule this week's a little bit odd. There are 2 nights where there's no games at all, November 21st and November 23rd. And then there's 5 nights when there's 5 to 15 games. So this week, there's 8 teams with 4 games and 2 off nights. There are no teams that have 3 off nights this week. So the most we can maximize our schedule by is 2 games, contingent on you picking up players that are playing with the 2 off night games. So of these 8 teams, it's going to be hard to differentiate which one has the best schedule, but I went ahead, I did some research, I looked into the best schedules for this coming week, and it came down to the Vancouver Canucks, who seemingly doesn't really need any easier of a schedule given how good they've been this year. The Colorado Avalanche and the Nashville Predators, those are my 3 priority teams given their strength of schedule. I just want to note that all the other teams that are playing 4 games and 2 off-night games are still viable options for you to stream from. It really depends on who's available on free agency, but when I was picking through the best players that you can be streaming this week, those were the 3 teams that I prioritized. With Arizona here, they also have 3 games this week with 2 games on off nights. But for me, I would just be looking to target the teams with the 4 games and the 2 off nights, which is November 20th, the 25th, and the 26th of this coming week. This is a very boring, worst schedule graphic right here, but there's just not a lot of teams that have overly bad schedules, and the reason being is that there's 2 nights where every single team in the NHL plays this week, so most teams do have 2 games. So with the Ottawa Senators here, they only have 1 game this week. Again, never panic on your Ottawa Senators players just because they have 1 game this week. It means they'll have busier schedules moving forward. It's very similar to what we saw with the New York Rangers last week. They just had 1 game, and now they're one of the top teams for the schedule this week. So hold on to your guys. If you're streaming guys from Ottawa, definitely someone you want to be dropping. With the Capitals here, 2 games, 2 busy nights. There's really not any reason you should be picking up guys from the Capitals this week because they're just going to fill into when your rosters are completely full. And Vegas and Minnesota, very similar with 2 games, just 1 night on the busy night. So they do have an off night this week, but still nothing I want to be streaming from. You probably skipped ahead. This is the best part of the video, the priority forward streamers. So like I mentioned, the 3 teams I want to be targeting this week, the Vancouver Canucks, the Nashville Predators, and the Colorado Avalanche. The only difficult part with the Vancouver Canucks is that all their good players are over 80% rostered. It's their top power play unit. That's where they get all their goals from. 5-on-5 just really isn't their team's strong suit, but we can still pinpoint players that we like. And that's Ilya Mikheyev here. He's left wing, right wing eligible, so you're going to get some flexibility, just 14% rostered, likely available in those 12+ team league. He's skating line 1 right now with Pedersen and Kuzmenko. Kuzmenko came back last night on Saturday, and he's skating power play 2. Schedule this week, November 20th, 22nd, 24th, and 25th. So 2 on-night games, 2 busy night games. Definitely where you want to be targeting Mikheyev is the start of the week and near the end of the week. Secondly, Gustav Nyquist of the Nashville Predators. He was a late addition to this because I did have Connor Garland, but with Kuzmenko returning yesterday, Garland was bumped down to the 3rd line and becomes completely irrelevant. So with Nyquist here, to my surprise, he's currently line 1, power play 1. The shot volume's been pretty solid, and he's already up to 5 power play points this season, just 2% rostered. I know left wing is a little bit more full of a position, so it might be difficult to fit him in there, but he does play on the 26th, which is the, aside from the 0 games this week, that's the least busy schedule. So if you're looking to stream a guy on the 25th and 26th, you probably want to be grabbing the Vancouver guy earlier in the week and then grabbing the Nashville player for the end of the week for the 26th. Valery Nichushkin here, a little bit higher owned. These are for the smaller leagues, the 10+ team leagues, the 8+ team leagues. I have 57% roster. If Nichushkin is available, power play 1, line 1. He has 4 games this week. This is when we're going to finally see his roster percentage go way beyond the 60-70% mark. He was good last night on Saturday. I expect him to be good for the rest of this week with 4 games and 2 games on the off nights. Lastly, Ryan O'Reilly, who's having some sort of resurgent season. He's been really good. Line 1, power play 1. If you can't get to O'Reilly, you probably want to be getting to Nyquist because they are in a very similar role with pretty similar peripherals. But with O'Reilly here, very similar. You're going to get that November 26th date, which is an important date that you want to be targeting because not many teams are playing on that time. At 43% rostered, he's probably available in 12-team leagues. It really depends on the competitiveness. But if you do need a centerman late in the week, this is definitely a guy you want to be trying to roster. The more depth forward streams, the other forwards I would be looking to target for this week, Ryan Johansson of the Colorado Avalanche. As I mentioned in the previous slide, the Colorado Avalanche have a very strong schedule this week. You're getting a guy that's line 2, power play 1, just 15% rostered. He doesn't really have great peripherals, but the goal and assist upside is definitely there, skated on this power play 1. James Van Riemsdyk of the Boston Bruins. Although we're trying to target players on the 3 teams that I mentioned in Vancouver, Colorado, and Nashville, there are 8 teams that have very strong schedules this week, so you don't want to be disregarding them. And with JVR here, you're getting a team that's going to be playing 4 games this week, 2 games on the off night. Line 2, power play 1, getting pretty solid minutes with decent peripherals. JVR just 13% rostered. Again, a left winger, which is a little bit more full of a position. I understand that. He does play on the 25th and 20th. Definitely a guy I want to be looking at for early and late in the week. Ross Colton here, a weirdly good hit and shot volume mix over the last week or so. Just 12% rostered, has more flexibility with the center left wing eligibility. Line 3, power play 2, not playing big minutes, but the hit and shot volume is a pretty solid mix for you to stream if that's what you're looking for to round out your roster. Lastly, Blake Coleman, very similar to a Ross Colton type player, where you're getting a guy with really solid shot and really solid hit volume, and also the opportunity to put up some points. Line 3, power play 2, we do know that the Calgary Flames roll their lines, so although he's line 3, he's still going to be playing pretty decent minutes. He plays November 20th and 25th. Very similar schedule to the entire week. Again, really odd scheduled week this week in the entire NHL. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this. But these are the 4 guys, the other forwards I would be looking to stream in those 10 to 14 plus team leagues. At the time of recording, just 36% of you are subscribed to the channel. So if you've enjoyed the content so far, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all the content that we're going to be pumping out for the rest of the season. In addition, we have updated our projections for the rest of the season. If you're interested in gaining access to that, head on over to our Patreon. The link will be in the description. If you have any questions, make sure you leave a comment on this video or simply message me on Discord. Let's jump back into the video, guys. Jumping over now to the defenseman streamers for this week, Bowen Byram of the Colorado Avalanche. It's really hard to pick and choose from the Avalanche because Makar's the big guy there, and then Taze is 77% owned. But with Byram here, you're getting a guy that's going to be playing 20 plus minutes. Good peripherals all around. His shot volume's a little bit lacking, but the hits and blocks are going to be there. Power play 2, pair 2, 31% rostered, so he's likely available in those 12 plus team leagues. He's going to give you 4 games this week with 2 games on the off nights. With Tyler Myers here, just solid all-around peripherals, where the point upside may be lacking a little bit. With Philip Hronek there, he's starting to play bigger minutes and a bigger role, and taking away from Myers, who's currently pair 3. But even with pair 3 minutes, he's still putting up pretty solid peripherals, and he's just 11% rostered. Erik Gustafsson, I do think is a priority add for this week for sure. He's playing pair 2, power play 1, played pretty big minutes since Fox has been out of the lineup. He had a power play assist on the first goal last night. There was a comment saying that he was a risky add last week, but going into this week, he's definitely someone you want to be prioritizing because of the opportunity that he's getting. With Nikita Zadorov, if you want some hits late in the week or midway through the week, this is definitely a guy you want to be trying to roster at 8% owned. He's pair 3, he's looking for a trade, so maybe he starts to pop off offensively a little bit more than. But with Zadorov here, he's mostly just a shot volume and a hit volume type of defenseman. Jumping over now to the other defenseman streams for this week. These are 16 plus team league defensemen. If you're in the 12 plus team leagues, I likely wouldn't be looking here unless the other 4 defensemen I mentioned are not available in your leagues. Mario Ferrero, the pair 1, the number 1 defenseman on a very lonely San Jose Sharks team. I think this is the first San Jose Shark that I've mentioned in a video. But with Ferrero here, you're just getting pretty solid peripheral upside, as you are with the rest of the defensemen. With Alex Carrier, again, with the Nashville Predators, they do play on Sunday the 26th, so you may have less rostered players on that day. making Carrier a pretty solid stream and the other Nashville Predator players. With Braden Schneider here, he's getting pretty decent minutes now with Adam Fox on the IR, as the entire defensive core is. With Schneider, there's a little bit of upside, just pretty solid peripherals. He's been one of the top defensemen on their team over the last 30 days in terms of generating fantasy points. And that's the same thing with Chris Tanev. If it's not Zadorov, it's likely Tanev. He's 0% owned, so he's probably available in most of those leagues. With 4 games this week, he's going to be playing 20 plus minutes in a penalty kill 1 role, so the blocks are going to be there, the hits are going to be there. He's pretty solid, just 0% rostered though, so in those deeper leagues, if you're looking for a guy to stream late in the week, this is probably the guy. Okay, the best part of the video, other than the priority forwards, I do think goalie streams are super relevant. So this week I tried to pick and choose 3 of my favorite goalies in terms of their matchups for this week. With Casey DeSmith here, it looks like Vancouver does have a back-to-back, and I assume Demko is going to start the first half of the back-to-back, and then DeSmith will get the second half at San Jose. As we know, they are the worst team in the NHL offensively, so this is a very strong matchup for Casey DeSmith. A little bit later in the week, you may have goalies starting on the 25th, and that may be difficult to make decisions, but if not, DeSmith is a very solid stream late in the week. With Phoenix Copley here, a very similar situation. They play against a little bit better of a team in Montreal, but he's a little bit lower rostered, so DeSmith may be owned. If he is, then Phoenix Copley would be my target on a LA Kings team who plays exceptional defense. They're a very strong team. This should be a 2 goals against or less type of game for Copley. So if you're not in a points league, if you're in a categories league, this is definitely the guy you want to be looking to roster. And finally, on the 26th, on the Sunday, it looks like Columbus is playing against the Carolina Hurricanes. It's going to be one of Ranta or Kochetkov. I'm not sure which one will be starting. It really depends on who plays on the first half of the back-to-back, but 52% rostered for Ranta, 37% rostered for Kochetkov. So one of them's available. I'm not sure who it'll be, but hopefully in your league, you can scoop up either 1 or 2 of these goaltenders for this week and for that Sunday matchup against the Columbus Blue Jackets at home, which is always a priority when trying to target goaltenders. That will do it for the Week 7 preview. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.